And you gotta love Al Ewing. X-Men Red. If you're not reading X-Men Red, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is getting so good. My name is Dorian. This is SCM Comics, and we are continuing our coverage of X-Men Red with number 13. Did I say X-Men Red enough? I mean, I said it a lot. Like a 15-second span. And normally I would just edit that out, but you know what? I want you guys to know my flaws. Our story starts off on the Great Ring of Arakko with this wolf-like creature that got two heads who is feeling himself. He goes, "Behold, Great Ring of Arakko, the both-sided one." So you know you can't trust this dude. And he's just hyping himself up, and he goes, "Like Can, the balanced one is here." On the next page, all of a sudden all you see is a knife go right to his head. And who threw it? Is Lotus Logos. He pretty much was like, if you were so great, then you would have dodged that. And Lycan is still feeling himself. He's like, I heal even from the most cowardliest sneak attacks. And then Storm's like, all right, calm down. You're not the first newcomer that Lotus has tested. She goes, besides, we got more pressing matters we need to concern ourselves with. So John Onfire starts talking because he has the white sword. So the people of Arakko's like, so did the helm fall? Like, are the demons coming? And John Onfire's like, no, it's not the demons, it's Annihilation that's coming. And they're confused. They're like, hold on, time out. They know that the white sword was fighting the demons and pretty much beating them back with the 100. They also know that Annihilation is something that Genesis has been fighting, so they don't understand how these are mixing together now. So just when he's about to try to explain everything, there's somebody walking in the distance, and then Storm's like, already? And once the figure comes, everybody's like looking and they're shocked because it's Genesis and she's holding the Annihilation Staff. And let me just tell you, Genesis is becoming one of my favorite characters. I mean, this girl like epitomizes badass. I mean, listen to this. She goes, and this is how you walk with me? A desert of bones where proud mutants once lived. The great ring so lessened, a history demolished, a feckless poet in the seat that guides the turn of the world. If I was weak enough to have tears, I would shed them for Arakko now, because it has fallen. If I was weak enough to have tears. Oh my god, that is so gangster. It's pretty much saying, I ain't no punk, so I ain't gonna cry about it. So during that speech, Annihilation said Arakko has fallen, and the big eyeball thing, or Sarada, was like, did you hear somebody say something? So it can hear it. And then Genesis just rolls right through it. She goes, I heard nothing, but hearing isn't your strong suit, is it, Aura Sarada? Man, Genesis just starts getting on Aura Sarada. She goes, you who oversees the laws of my land, you who were my iron gaze, why did you allow the lies of a madman in this space? It offends me, Aura. And all of a sudden all you hear is Annihilation go, madman. And Aura Sarada's like, I seem coherent. So Genesis is pretty much trying to say that because the 100 die damn near on a daily basis and are reborn over and over again, that they're not in their right mind, and how they're just trying to stir up civil war because they're insane. So John Onfire starts to fire back, and he's like, the demons showed up every day to fight. Where were you? You are lower. And then Aura Sarada started saying, you can't say that to her. And John Onfire's like, I can say what I want. He's like, you guys weren't there. We die and die and die and die. You guys were meant to be reinforcements. You never came. We've been fighting this war for thousands of years and you never came. So then he goes to Genesis and he's like, yeah, we die and we might seem insane, but where were you? I'm sorry. I'm starting to think Genesis is a better Apocalypse than Apocalypse. She pretty much goes, do you hear this dude? You hear him sniveling, asking for help? Like he can't handle his own? Like, man, Genesis just spins everything, don't she? And she spins it in the way that Apocalypse always spins it. The strong survive, the weak die. Now the whole time Annihilation has been just whispering different things. Now the White King warned John Onfire about this, how Annihilation can just whisper things into your head and you start to believe it. Now some of the mutants can hear it, some don't. Why that is, I don't know. I guess we'll find out later on, but yeah, know that while all this talking's going on, that's happening too. So Giant on Fire has pretty much heard enough, and he wants to attack Genesis with the white sword, and she uses her mutant power to pretty much restrain him, and she goes, I've heard enough from you. I want to hear from them. I want to hear their excuses. God, this girl is badass. So the fist looking mutant, yes, I'm gonna call it the fist looking mutant because I'm gonna mispronounce their name very badly, and I'm not gonna do that to you guys. It starts saying help doesn't carry the same shame like it used to, and Annihilation says shame, and just like that, the fist mutant's like it is, we have fallen. And Genesis is like, it's a simple concept. The strong survive, the weak do not. If the weak did, then they will be strong. She goes, so how can we truly win if none lose? That's that whole participation trophy thing. I wholeheartedly agree with her in that department. How can we truly thrive if there are none beneath us? How can we conquer if, and now Storm has had enough. And the Storm's like, is that all we are? Is that what you fought Annihilation for millennia for? Just to turn around and hold that same power in your hand? Is that all we can be? And Genesis is like, every CEO out there. She goes, you bring your feelings to the place of cold facts. The strong are strong and the weak are weak. That is simple nature. But with proper encouragement, the weak can be made strong. So pretty much what Genesis is getting at is they move Arakko to this plane of existence, from one dimension to where it was at to this dimension. They put it on Mars and they've been lazy in her eyes. You know, they've been laid back, not doing anything. And then Uranus came and pretty much took out a whole bunch of them. Now, mind you, a lot of these mutants on Arakko are mega level mutants, so gotta be pretty strong to take these dudes out. And now she's also pissed because Uranus is still alive. And then the one mutant who Genesis feels like wouldn't have let all that happen, they killed, which was Tarn Karen. I mean, Magneto took him out. So Storm's like, enough. And Genesis is like, enough indeed. A crying child sits in my seat. Kobak, I challenge you. Do you accept my challenge? And the one thing you can say about the mutants of Arakko, ain't none of them no punks. And Kobak is on it. John Ironfire is able to finally break free. He grabs a sword. He goes after Genesis. Genesis gets out the way, wraps him back up, and now she has a sword in her hands. So Storm's like, I'm not going to have this, Genesis. And Annihilation is still talking, saying that Genesis is right. So now the fish mutant hears it. It's taking Genesis' side pretty much, and now it's attacking Storm. And Storm is definitely the one mutant that was made to be on Arakko, because she's like, oh, if you want to do this, you ain't said nothing but a word. So Lotus and Latuka are talking, and they're not sure exactly what side they should take. So Latuka is fully aware of everything that's going on, and it understands that Annihilation has been whispering to the other mutants and turning them to Genesis' side, and Latuka feels like that's unfair. So all the mutants that are on Storm's side, it pretty much transports them out of there. So Orosorata's like, Latuka, you stop the challenges that were going on. You know, you're not supposed to do that. And Latuka's like, yeah, I did it. If you got a problem with it, challenge me. I'm thinking, oh, Genesis is going to do this, but Genesis doesn't. She was like, no, they ran. So I guess Latuka's like really strong to the point to where you don't want to fight Latuka unless you really have to. But now there's a bigger problem, because not only does Genesis have Annihilation, but now she also has the white sword.